locked up.
Just saying,
Wow.
Like,
details.
Can we talk
I
about
just
this
read
later?
down somewhere.
Talk about this later.
I know, right? Moving along. Thank you for having me on today.
We're not starting yet. That is hilarious, but okay. All right, y'all ready?
That should be your tagline.
What?
That is hilarious. That's all you always say. That is hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Everything's hilarious.
Everyone has a unique gift, and Mike and Diana, host of the One Life podcast, believe that most people don't know how to use their gifts or what they are. Mike and Diana want you to see things from a different perspective and be true to yourself. The One Life podcast unites the world through art, fashion, music, and film. It inspires, motivates, and creates positive energy, love, and compassion to all communities and creates an equal playing field for all. On the One Life podcast, they cover topics like building relationships, overcoming adversity, habits of healthy people, and much, much more. We only have one life to live. Be yourself and live your truth. Add the One Life podcast to your playlist. That's the number 1NELife. Available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the One Life Podcast. I am Mike Reed, M to the I to the C, and as always, I have my lovely co-host, the beautiful Diana from Socialholic.
Hey, y'all.
We are in the building, you guys, and in the lobby we have my boy Angelo Gant in the house with us. What's up, Angelo? How you doing, brother?
What's up?
But first, we're going to talk about it. If you're feeling down, need to speak on it, business-wise, relationship-wise, just need someone to talk to, you want to tell your story, you want to get your story out, you want to vent, you want to just reach out and just shout out somebody, have good vibes, good conversations, we are the people to come to. You can hit us up at 747-999-8021. Again, 747-999-8021. Or you can follow us at IG at One Life Brand, or hit Diana up at Socialholic TV. Yeah. So today, speaking about that, today we're going to do something different today, guys. I feel an echo in my headphones. I don't know why. But so today we're going to do something different, only because I had another guest I was supposed to have on the show today, and I canceled it because I didn't want to have that conversation today. Today was a conversation that I wanted to talk about because, just like I said in my opening dialogue just now, if anybody has a story to tell or they want to talk about anything, get something out their chest, I always tell people don't hold things in, talk about it. And I'm no exception to the rule. So I can't be a hypocrite and not talk about my issues and my stuff. So this week the last couple of days has been a real rough day to me. I had a death in the family. So I'm kind of going through some things. And today, even Diana, you said we didn't have to do the show, but I wanted to because, like I said, I'm no exception. So I want to talk about it only because there's other people I know that go through things like I'm going through. And I brought D'Angelo along because he is a behavior modification specialist. Did I say that right?
Fair enough. Absolutely.
You're an educator. You're also into real estate. And over the last couple of days, you and I had great conversations. And I truly appreciate the conversations. And so that's why I brought him on today. And that's why I wanted to do this show today. So the show really doesn't have a topic. I'm just going to go off the cuff. And we're just going to talk about it. But first, we're going to get with Diana with the Socialholic Experience. What's going down in the AV this week, Diana?
Oh, shoot. So, it's my birthday month.
Hey, happy birthday. That's what's up.
All month.
So the thing is, we had a huge fireworks show planned at the AV Fairgrounds, but unfortunately, due to some alleged illegal activity, it was canceled. So unfortunately, I don't have anything to really push besides after the 4th, on the 5th, they are having the summer concerts, and that is taking place at, I hope I don't butcher this park's name, Tierra's Bonita Park. So find out more on Socialholic. Also, AV Hispanic Chamber of Commerce has posted the advertisement for that too. So you need to find out more information.
And then, but we also have cocktails and combo coming
That's
up.
the 14th.
That's the 14th?
Yes,
Okay.
that's next week. That's 2 weeks from now.
But I
we can mention it.
I want to talk about that
Okay.
now with Eventually Events and Liquid
Yeah.
Courage. I mean, you guys do a monthly meeting. I always want to talk about that because they're great. It's not a monthly meeting. It's a monthly networking
Yes, mixer.
mixer. So
it kind of transitions. We either have coffee and convo 1 month at 11 a.m. and then we have cocktails and convo the next month at 6 p.m. and we change location. So we really want to show love to the community and the different businesses here in the community. So we try to move it around. This time around in July, it's going to be on July 14th at Zelda 750 West. I know we gave them a lot of love, and I'm so excited to have it there. And then it is a networking, a business networking mixer. So if you have a business and you want to meet new people and grow your business, this is the place to be. On July 14th, Zelda 750 West on Lancaster Boulevard from 6 to 8. You do need to RSVP. So in order to do that, go on Eventually Events page, and the link is in the profile. If you are a business and you have a brick and mortar place that you would like to host the cocktails or coffee and convo, please reach out to me as well and we'll set something up. Right now we have on the books already a location for August, September, and October. So we're looking for November and December locations.
and this thing is just growing and growing,
yeah.
which I'm excited about because the first one I went to, I was really excited, and I got to speak at one.
Yes.
And I just love the growth of it, even with the community and everybody supporting it. It's a great event. Angelo, you have to come because you haven't been to one. So
No, I'd love to.
so yeah, I mean, no, you definitely got to come.
Networking, meeting people. People are my business.
Hey, it's
So-
all our businesses.
So that was a Socialholics experience, you guys. Anyways, we are in the elevator. We're going to the top floor with Angelo Gant. What's up, man? How you doing?
Brother, I am doing well. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be amongst people who care about people.
There you go.
You know,
Okay.
I think it's important, really. I mean, for all of us to understand that in our humanity, we all go through the same things.
Yeah.
You know,
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
You always think it's just me, but then you meet somebody and they're like, oh my God,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not alone in this.
We are not alone, and our experiences, as unique as they may feel, there are other people going through the same things all the time. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important, like you said, Mike, to talk about these things, you know, and for the sole purpose, if nothing else, so people know, hey, they're not alone.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's just get into it then.
Are we staying in the lobby?
No, I already said we was on the top floor.
Oh, we are.
You missed that part?
I missed that part.
Oh, well, should have missed that.
It must have like zoned out of the headset or something.
We got to go back into the elevator, y'all, because we left Diana down in the lobby.
I was
So
stuck in
let's
the lobby.
let's go get Diana. We're going up to the top floor.
You left me, guys.
Yeah, I thought you was behind me. Anyways, so like I said, you know, the last couple of days I've been having a rough day, rough 2 days, and it doesn't get any easier. But anyways, I just want to kind of talk about it real quick. So I was married for 25 years, as some of you know, but I'm real good friends with my, and I gotta say it this way because she hates when I say my ex-wife. She feels like it's so negative. So whenever she introduces me to people, she always says my children's father. So I gotta
baby
get
daddy?
yeah. Well, no, she don't even like that. She just says my children's father, and I gotta start. And she keeps telling me this too because I still say my ex-wife, but she's right. It is like a negative. No.
So your children's mother.
My children's mother. So that's what I gotta say. So anyways, her mom passed away a couple of days ago. And as some of you know, like Diana, you know, I didn't grow with a mom, so she was kind of close to me and like a mother figure to me as well. But she passed away suddenly Wednesday, and we know she had a heart problem, right? And it goes back to when I tell people that we're not promised tomorrow.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get caught up in that. So Tuesday night, I got a text from Nina, and you know she said that her mom wasn't doing well, and no, she said she needed a heart transplant and a kidney transplant. So I was like, okay, you know, Wednesday morning, and I had asked her. I said, so when are you going back up there to see her? Because I want to go because I haven't seen her mom like in a month and a half. I think a month and a half ago, I took her to one of her doctor's appointments. That's the last time I saw her. And so I was like, I want to go up there. So she was like, well, I'm going to go up there Thursday. And I was like, okay, cool, I want to go. And she was like, but you don't have your booster shot. So I'm vaccinated, but I never got my booster shot. I was supposed to get it last week, but I just been so busy, I just never got it. And so she was at Cedars-Sinai, and they are really strict, she said. She was like, they're not going to let you in if you don't have your booster. So I said, okay, cool, no problem. So yesterday, Wednesday morning, I was actually making plans to figure out my schedule, because every time I got my shot, I got sick the next day. So I said I was going to go and make an appointment, but I had to look at my schedule to see what day I can actually just take off and be sick the one day so I can get my booster shot. And Nina had I texted her, good morning, and I was asking, how you feeling? And, she was like, oh, Mom's not going to make it. And I was like, oh. So now I'm really thinking like, okay, now I really got to push up the schedule to like maybe get it like in the next day or two. Thinking I got time, right? 15 minutes later, she texted me back and said, oh, she just passed away. Like, so I didn't even have time. Like, and I was, I guess, ignorant and thinking I had, a day or two or to do something. And like, life is so short, it goes by like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's hard. It's hard. You always think, you've got you got more time. And the thing is, like, I think what is a beautiful thing that I heard is that you just took her to the doctor's office. The fact that you are so involved in their life after, and it was recent. So I know you didn't get a chance to say goodbye, but you mattered. You were very important. She was very important to you, and that's a beautiful thing. So that's something you can always hold on to, is that it wasn't like it was I haven't seen her in 10 years. It was like literally a month and a half.
No, and you
were present in her life.
Right. And so once she sent me that text, and I had a feeling like that morning, because I'm normally out of my house by 7 a.m., on my way to LA, whatever, or wherever I got to go. And something was keeping me like at my house. For whatever reason, and I just had a feeling. Anyway, so I ended up, as soon as he texted me that, obviously I went straight over there because, my kids still live with her, and I wanted to make sure they was okay. I wanted to make sure she was okay, because me and her are still really great friends. And so I ended up picking her up, ended up taking her to the hospital to see the body, and we sat up there like all day until they took her down to the morgue. But it was like, when I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, guys. I just lost my train of thought.
No, but you're just saying that you got up early. Normally your day starts and do, but you just were kind of, and it's probably a good thing that you did take a step back on your schedule, and you did you listened to that pause in the world, in the environment, or the universe that just kind of paused you because you needed to be with your family that day. And I think, that you were there for that really hard moment in your children's mom's life when she had to go and see. And even though the mom had passed, that was another opportunity for her to kind of have her moment to say goodbye. And the fact that you were there with her is really comforting. She needed you. You are still best friends, which I love. Yeah. And your kids are watching that. You're an example. No, yeah, and and on my way there, I had to be strong because I knew I was going to see my kids. My kids are like me; like we don't handle death too well. And I don't know anybody that handles death well. No, true, but it's for us, it's a little different. I think it is. But you're right. I don't think no one does. But the moment I walked in the house, my daughter, she just kind of fell into my arms, and because my daughter's 20, and she, like we was talking, like we sat on the couch and we was talking, and she was even like, I thought grandma had time, because in her mind, because we was telling her, she just needs a heart transplant. So she was like, and she had just, which is crazy, just spent a lot of time with her grandma. Because, my daughter just got her car like, a year ago or something like that. So she'd been taking her, if it wasn't me, it was her taking her to her doctor's appointment. And it's crazy because when I was last with her and I took her on a doctor's appointment,
she was telling me how Kira had just took her to an appointment like a week prior. And then even after that appointment, Kira sat with her like at her house and like for 4 hours and just kind of talked to her and hung out. And she said that meant the world to her. And Kira, she even knew that. So Kira was saying, yeah, you know, I thought she was going to get a guitar transplant. You know, I thought we had time. And because she was young. She was 67 years old.
You know, it's crazy. And I, you know, if you would have had the opportunity to ask her, I'm sure she would say something similar, because when you get to a certain age in your life, their question is always asked, like, what advice can you give the younger generation? Like what? And they always say, slow down.
Yeah.
Take time to be with family and friends.
Right.
Make time for your family and your friends, because at the end of it, that's all that matters. And so how true does that play right now is that she said that meant the world to her for those 4 hours with her granddaughter. And that's something I wish we all could take the opportunity to learn. And even for myself, talking like my grandma, I only have my only grandma living, and to me, she looks amazing and young, but I'm not given promise tomorrow for her. Right. And so it's a realization, I think, for everybody needs to take a moment to spend and really appreciate those that are in your life, because we're not promised tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, and that's really important too, because none of us are promised tomorrow. It's important to let your loved ones know daily, if possible, what they mean to you.
Yeah.
And express the love. With a lot of times, you know, we take it for granted that people know and understand who they are to us and how we feel about them. But honestly, it needs to be communicated.
Yeah.
Because anything can happen at any given moment. And similarly, and by the way, my condolences to you and your family.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you.
And I understand losing someone suddenly. I lost my mother similarly. She was in the hospital being treated for an infection. They cleared it up. Several days later, we got a call from the hospital, come pick up your mom. And an hour after that phone call, we got another call. We're losing her. You need to get down here. Then there came a third call. She's gone. So in the time space of a few hours, we went from going to pick mom up to she's gone. Right.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so, you know, in this case with my mother, she knew, and I'm a mama's boy. I always have been. So we talked regularly, even when I lived on the opposite end of the country. And so because of that closeness, it was understood. And even though we were so close, we still spoke those words to each other. I love you, Mom. I love you, son. And I think nothing can prepare for the loss of a loved one, even if they've been sick a long time or whatever the case may be. In the moment of the loss, no one's ready for that. And so I think it's just important to express that love.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, regularly. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, and I think maybe it was at the place that I spoke at your thing. I was talking about how one of my favorite motivational speakers, Eric Thomas, E.T., a few months ago, he did a video because he had just lost his grandmother. And he was saying on a video that, you know, he can sit here and mourn and cry and be sad, you know, and everybody has the right to do that, correct? But he said, everybody has choices. He said, or I can choose to celebrate and appreciate the time I had with her and think about all the good times. And that kind of stuck with me, how he said it. And it is true. Like I'm so grateful. Like, I'm sad she's gone, but I'm grateful for her. I'm grateful for that I was able to take her on, you know, one of her last doctor's appointments. You know, I'm grateful. Look what she gave me. She gave me Nina. And out of that, I had 2 beautiful kids. And I have a great friendship with Nina now. And so, I mean, it's all because of her. So I'm grateful for all those things. So it is a choice. But even though it is still sad and it hurts and, you know, we're going through it. And I tell you, going through arrangements should be easy for families.
Oh, no, it's so hard.
Do you know this morning, I didn't even know where my mother-in-law was. Like, I made arrangements yesterday for someone to go pick her up, like the mortuary, and come to find out, and this is so retarded, there are 2 mortuaries in the same city with the same name.
What?
I know, it's so retarded. Like, who does that? Like,
Isn't that
the
like a copyright law
the
or
second one, well, it's like, so there's Inglewood Park, because Inglewood has that huge park, and they have their huge cemetery. So there's Inglewood Park Cemetery mortuary, but then there's the city Inglewood mortuary without the park. I'm like, that's so confusing. Like, why would you guys name it that? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only family.
So they took it to the wrong one?
She was.
Oh, my gosh.
But Nina and I was out on the phone this morning. We was like, you know what? Just keep her there. We're just going to go with you guys. Wasn't where we wanted her, but whatever. Because we was like, we didn't want no more confusion. And
Is she being buried, or is it...
she's been cremated. But they are going to do a public viewing.
Okay.
So she's going to get embalmed and, do the public viewing first, because she was a mother, like the neighborhood mother where she was. So everybody, is feeling it, the whole neighborhood over there. And they want to kind of pay with their respects. And so we're going to do that whole thing. But yeah, just the whole arrangement thing over the last couple of days been kind of a nightmare. But I've been kind of handling it for Nina because, she's going through, like, she's the only daughter. She's the only child, so just trying to do whatever I can to.
It's hard.
Ease it for her, because everybody's calling her, even though because she's the daughter, so everybody's calling her. Like, I was talking to you yesterday about it. She got family members calling her that she ain't never met before. Like, so her phone is just going off and off. And
I mean, she just needs to turn it off for a little bit.
Yeah.
Get that. I mean, I know when my mom passed, I'm the only child too, so it was like work mode in my head. It was like arrangements, celebration of life. How are we doing this? And there was a lot of not turmoil, but differences of how people wanted because of her religious choices. They wanted it at her church, and then they wanted to have, the people that weren't in the religion, they wanted to have it over here. And it's like, and it's trying to follow what they would have wanted. Those of the people that knew the person that passed the most should really try to honor their last wishes. And it's hard when family and friends don't agree. Or you get, like we mentioned yesterday, you get people that you've never met or you haven't heard from in years, and all of a sudden they're like, why didn't you tell me, or come call me, or what can I do? And it's like, why weren't you around, all this time? Now you want to call me? Leave me alone right now. Like, I need to try to grieve and not have your asses up, up my ass. Like,
yeah, I had a similar experience when my mother passed. There were family members that I wasn't in touch with for years, since I was a teenager, calling the house, and because they heard of my mother's death. But these were people that I knew as a child, but we didn't have any connection. I didn't have a connection with them growing up, and so we're fielding all these calls. And that's a really heavy and hard thing to deal with as well, because you're already grieving. And by the way, back on something you had said before about making a choice, part of that choosing to not, there is an appropriate time to grieve, and you should allow yourself that. That's appropriate and is expected.
Oh yeah.
And I get what you're saying about the choice. People handle grief differently,
right?
And everyone has to. Everyone has their process, even if it's not defined. You know how you get down when it comes to losing someone. But that time for grieving is important, and it's equally important to know when to move beyond that. And the way I move beyond is by choosing to celebrate the life, remembering who they were in life and who they were to you.
Yeah.
And the good times and what they left behind, their legacy. It's left in all the conversations, all the time spent, the gifts, the exchanges, the meals, and all of these things. This is what the legacy is composed of, And so, just because they're not here bodily, what they leave behind, that's the more precious stuff that that you can hold on to, that keeps them alive within you. And so, so I would, grieve as necessary, and and then continue.
Yeah.
Because they would want to see.
They would
continue.
want to see you
Yeah.
still. And the thing is, I truly believe they are always with us. And I think they're a part of a lot of our life decisions and a lot of the things that happen in our life.
Absolutely.
It's definitely that was you, or, you know, my mom was watching me on that or something, you know, and I love to know that.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know why I got an echo, but anyway.
Is it bothering you?
And no, not really. I mean, it is, but not really.
Lies.
And Angela, I was gonna call you something else right now.
D'Angelo.
Because you know what? Lately, I've been trying to call you by your real name because I know I gave you the nickname D'Angelo, and every time I try to correct myself, something else comes out. But a behavior modification specialist. Before I continue talking, I just want to know, like, what? Explain that. What exactly is that?
Well, it entails. Okay, so I worked a long time with school kids, K-12, and in special needs and similar programs. So behavior modification is about helping a student, supplying a student with the understanding and tools to modify and change behavior patterns. So for me, what I can tell mostly, what I discovered ultimately is that changing the behavior of a student versus an adult is the same process. Mm-hmm. First identifying, what the issues are, and then adapting a way to address them. But it has to come from the way that I operate. It has to come from a knowledge base of understanding of that individual. So I cannot just impose cookie cutter approaches. Yeah, it's not a template situation.
It's by case by case.
Absolutely. And working with autistic students and students with cognitive and various behavioral disabilities, it's a case by case. Mm-hmm. And so one of the first things I do is try to learn their way of communicating, learn their language. Mm-hmm. And because it's natural to want to get them to get on board with your way of communicating. But most of the time, they're not ready for that. They can't do it. Mm-hmm. In some cases, they can't do it at all. So you have to adjust to them and create a bridge. Yeah. A bridge of understanding. Hey, I'm here to listen to you. I want to help you. Mm-hmm. Help me to help you. But in order to do that, you have to put yourself in their position. And a lot of times I was working with a lot of nonverbal students, and so they can't just simply tell you what they want. You have to
watch their mannerism.
Yeah, you have to watch them, and then you have to watch their responses, and then you have to create a way to understand what they need.
What a process, though, because they have to feel comfortable with you, which means you have to create some type of friendship, I would say, or some type of trust balance.
It's a trust bond.
To be able to get to that level where they can feel close enough to show you how they communicate. Because I think a lot of kids that are not nonverbal or that are autistic, they're already on like their own guard. So many other people have tried to talk to them and deal with them and teach them, and they're just kind of like, here's another person. Maybe they're not really in tune and trying to get that bond until you break that barrier. So I think that's such a process, which we just talked about processes last week.
Exactly.
It's a process. It
is a process. And a major component of that process is building a relationship with the individual that is based on them. Mm-hmm. And it's unique every time. It's a different setup every time. So, and the hope is that over time and consistent diligence, you can get to a place where the behaviors begin to subside because I'm providing tools for them to use that will replace the acting out behavior. Mm-hmm.
Then the positive outweighs the negative,
and positive reinforcement. And those are elements and tools that you put into play to support the change. So instead of catching them doing bad, you catch them doing good.
Yeah.
And I've similarly, it works the same way with adults.
Right.
And
So,
dogs too. We can teach everything.
so even even kind of like what we're talking about today, and what I said, like in my open dialogue, I'm trying to get, more people to kind of talk about, what's going on in their lives or whatever the case may be. I mean, so it's kind of touching on that too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as I mentioned earlier, people do people stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And we are all experiencing this life in the way that we're all experiencing it. And at times it can feel like you're alone in that process of living this journey. And nothing could be further from the truth. Mm-hmm. The truth is we're all more interconnected than some would like to believe. Mm. Our experiences here in this world we have way more similarities than we do differences. Absolutely. And most of those similarities connect in our connected humanity. As human beings, these are life issues that we go through. Mm-hmm. And it's not unique in the sense that it's unique in that it's happening to us. Mm-hmm. We feel that it is directed at us, and at times it can feel exclusively directed to us, but that's not really true. So I think it's important to be able to communicate, hey, I'm going through some shit right now.
Yes.
Have you ever been through this, or can you identify with this? Going through divorce. I've been divorced. I have children, by the way, and they're living out of the country.
Oh my goodness.
They're living in Belgium right now. And I miss them tremendously. But unlike, what you were telling me about your situation with your, I don't know if that's
children's mother.
Your children's mother. My children's mom and I don't share that closeness. Mm-hmm. And so there's a different feeling about it. But now for me, we're still connected. Mm-hmm. And forever will be. We have children together, and they're young adults now. But I think it's helpful to still be able to talk about these life events and share your feelings. I think there's people talk about economic deficits, but I think one of the greatest deficits that we don't often address, and I think it's one of the major deficits that really exists, is a deficit of love, a deficit of empathy. Mm-hmm. I think these are major deficits in our world that ought to be addressed more than they are. I think they're being addressed more now, but I think there's a lot of work to be done there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So like yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine who's a therapist, and not for myself, I just happened to be talking to her. And we were just talking about how people go through things, right? And it's okay. And she's kind of similar to me because, like I was telling her, like if one of my friends are going through some things, like I'll give them like 5-10 minutes to vent, right? But then after that, it's like, okay, now it's your choice if you want to stay in this zone that you're in or this negative space that you're in, or you can come out of it and we can talk. But you're not going to pull me into your negative space. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not going into it. Like you got to come out of it, right? So, but for me, it's like, and she kind of echoed the same sentiments. Like that, she said she does the same thing. She tells people like, look, we could talk, but let me know when you're out of your rut and you can come to me. Now we can talk, but don't pull me into yours. And so she was saying the exact same things. But is it really like everybody thinks it's like the things that we go through are bad? I don't really like looking at it from that perspective, right? Because I think for me, I believe I can find the good in everything. Because everything to me is like a lesson. Mm-hmm. Even though it seems like we get frustrated, we get hurt, whatever the case may be. But for me, I always try to look for the positive in it. Like, okay, what's the lesson can I get out of this and move forward? So I don't look at it like my mindset is not a bad thing.
I think you already did that today, though, by saying you were reminded how precious time is.
Right.
So that was your lesson, is that time is precious. So now you have me thinking like, I need to call my grandma.
Right.
I need to call some people and be like, hey, you're on my mind today. I just want to tell you I love you, because I'm not promised.
Right.
So I think that was the lesson that I learned from it. And I feel like you kind of captured that too. just to get back to you really quick, because the love, you're talking about self-love, that's a whole topic, but that would help get to that mind frame of what am I learning versus why is this happening to me?
Right.
You know, the self-love and building that is going to help the maturity go towards something like a more positive mindset.
Yeah, because, you know, I think a lot of times we get married to outcomes and an expectation of outcomes.
Expectation is the worst, yes.
You know, and what I found is that it has worked for me to not be married to a specific outcome, because, you know, you don't really know, and as like you were alluding to before, to say a certain outcome is good or bad, it's kind of prejudging the actual outcome.
The variables you're not able to
There's
predict.
so many variables,
Yeah.
and then you don't know what your ultimate takeaway is going to be from that
It
situation.
could be something completely different than what you thought, expected from.
Absolutely, it can be life changing, and it can change your mind about many things. And so, I agree with what you're saying. It's not to prejudge too harshly the happenings of life. Instead, embrace the journey.
Yeah.
Because there's more to come, and we don't know how long we have on this earth. But what I do know is that we have a choice. We can choose to engage and embrace the journey, and not be so ultimately concerned about the outcome. Because, you know, life happens along the way.
Yeah.
Right.
To various
Out
destinations.
of your control. And I think communication also helps with that. I think if you're talking to the people or you say what you want to happen in your life, I would like to be this, I would like to be here, but the journey that gets you through to that spot, you might end up there, but all the little road,
Yes.
What do you call it, detours that happens, you can't plan it. You can't.
And you know what? So yesterday, like I said, I was talking to my friend, and I'm not going to say her name because we're not supposed to say names. But so again, she's a therapist, and because we was talking about the books we read, right? And we were just talking about that, like how you just saying, like it is a journey, right? And like how I am today. I was talking to you about this last night as well. I don't know why it was this topic yesterday, but I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, right?
It's a beautiful
But everything
thing.
that I went through, like all the books I read, all the situations I've been through, made me who I am today. Like, and we really did talk about that, right?
We
We talked about how
It's like, I'm not imagining this.
no,
we did.
We really did, because we talked about my relationship with Nina, why I got a divorce and why I chose to leave, and went through the stuff that I went through even after that. Would I do it again? I don't know just yet. I don't have the answer to that, but I do know that I'm grateful for those decisions, even though it was a hard decision. Like it's what I was telling you last night. It was a hard decision to leave her and the kids, but it made me who I am today. And this is why I'm so positive, and it's just a part of my journey, right? And it really brought all four of us together closer. And I've seen the growth in Nina. I've seen the growth in my kids. Like we all went up levels. Like huge levels. Like you can tell, like if you knew us 5 years ago, like we wasn't like that. Like we went up levels. So I have to look at that. I have to look at the greatness that, we all kind of accomplished over the last 5 to 6 years. Yeah, we all did,
You shouldn't be able to recognize yourself 5 years ago. Like where's that post or Instagram that's like, the girl that posted on, Facebook in 2009 or whatever, 2009 is not the same person I am today. That should be a true statement. Or like, I don't know who that person is. Yeah, you shouldn't. Like, if you're still that same person, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you need to look into that, because you should be growing. You should be evolving, maturing, more self-love, more love for humanity, empathy, in dealing with things. Like you should have already learned some skills that have changed you from the person you were 10 years ago. 5 years ago.
And that growth, choosing, engaging in that growth process, it's a choice.
It is a choice.
You have to choose growth. You have to choose to move beyond where you are, even though it may be moving into the unknown, and more times than not, it is moving into the unknown. But I think part of embracing the journey is being okay with not knowing what's coming up.
Right.
But engaging in that process
There's
anyway.
so much behavioral aspects to that, though.
Absolutely.
There's the fear.
Yes.
Fear of getting hurt. Fear
That's
of
actually number
losing,
one.
right?
Yeah.
Fear, and I'm not a specialist, guys. So.
Hey, Diana is talking.
You're on it. You're on it.
No, but like honestly, like okay, so my background, Diana at 15 is not Diana who you see today. The people that I used to associate with are not the people that you see today. But I had to make a choice to say I don't want that life. I want something different. Not to say it's better or worse. It's just that's not my path.
Right.
You have people that are in the same house, same lifestyle, same mindset, 40, 50 years. And I know some people and I'm just like, did it never, like, are you happy? If you're happy, you're happy.
Right.
But are you happy in everything like you went through a lot and you're still the same person.
Right.
You're still in the same, mentality, same people that you used to associate with, and it's not getting you anywhere. Are you happy? And I feel like that's the biggest thing is the fear of the next step.
Right.
The unknown.
The unknown.
Or like in relationships, the fear of being committed or the fear of putting your heart on that table or giving your heart to somebody and just watching them and if they're going to hurt you or not.
Right.
The fear of taking a risk in business, there's that. And it's like, how can people that are not comfortable, how can they overcome it? What is something a tip that you can say what to do when you have that moment of fear?
Okay. So fear can be paralyzing. It doesn't matter what the subject matter is. It can be paralyzing. And what I mean by that is it can stop you from making any decisions.
Literally, physically stop you.
Physically stop you, mentally, emotionally, psychologically stop you in your tracks. And so instead of, and the fear, so in order to move beyond the fear, I believe it has to start internally. So here's the deal. We need to identify and become acquainted with our real selves, who we are when no one's looking.
Yes.
We have to deal with our self-talk, the things that we say about us. Okay. And then we have to be willing to let go of all the other things that we've learned that others have told us about us. Okay. So that's
deep.
That's
like upbringing deep. That's like childhood.
Absolutely.
That's hard.
And we have to go there because that inner self, the healing begins inside. It doesn't begin externally. It's a journey inward. And that healing that begins internally will manifest on the outside eventually. So we have to, in short, I'll say it this way. We have to first learn how to love self properly. And then honestly. And when we engage in self-loving activities, which by the way are not selfish, it's not selfish to
going
love
to
yourself.
karaoke every week is not selfish, guys. Okay?
No, it's not.
On the record.
And
it's my self-love.
Nor are gin and tonics. But I think that
and margaritas on the phone.
so it's
a form of self-love.
Well, and look, going
we're music people.
Mani pedis and massages and all of these things, it's a part of a wellness routine. I walk a lot, but it's part of my physical well-being, mental health. It's what I do to take care of Angelo. And so we engage in things that we should be engaging in things that are part of our self-care routine. And another part of that is it's loving yourself, loving your shortcomings, seeing who you are and recognizing where you want to be and loving yourself through that process. I think is major. If you can do that. That's why I said
you have to be honest with yourself when you're discovering who you are, and there's not 100% pretty picture, right? There are some parts of you like, oh no, that's me.
You might be horrified.
The way you said manifesting, which I won't go too deep in that because I'm huge in manifestation. That's just recent for me. Like maybe the last 2-3 years, I'm like manifestation. That's where it's at. But you literally, the whole talking to yourself, if you talk to yourself negative, that's manifesting the negative. If you're talking to yourself positive, even if you're telling yourself, oh my God, I'm so stupid, that's a negative manifestation.
Right.
Yeah,
you know, like,
absolutely.
I can't believe you have, and then when you catch yourself saying that, and this is a routine, this is something that doesn't happen overnight. It takes years and time for you to constantly, when you catch yourself talking negative to yourself, you have to say, no, Diana, stop.
Right.
That's not the truth. You are not stupid, or you did not, whatever, you not fuck this up royally or
Right.
whatever. You know what? Everything can be fixed.
Absolutely.
And you are not stupid. So like, it's changing the behavioral thought.
And that's a pattern, switching up that pattern. So when I say to myself, Angelo, man, you really suck at this. Okay. Now you suck at life. Now, no one else is here. Now, that's pretty harsh, right? Yeah. But we are our toughest critics, right? And so what happens is in our self-talk, we are going to believe what we say before we believe what anyone else says. So now in that self-talk situation, you're saying to yourself with your own voice, I suck. So your subconscious is going to take that in and say, oh,
we suck.
We suck.
Yeah. No, it's that.
Right.
It's that. Even your thoughts is energy.
Yes.
So your thoughts, and that's why I tell people, even when you ain't got to tell people how you feel or being negative. It's even if you're sitting there looking at someone thinking about it, you're putting that negative energy out there, right?
It's oozing off of you.
Well, it's like they say, like people have a great $1 million ideas and they're thinking about it, and then next thing you know, 2 months later, someone invent something. And
right.
Like, that wasn't my idea. It's because you put that shit in the universe, sweetheart. Right. It went out
there. Yeah. So, but I want to rewind and talk about the fear, touch on that real quick, because Mel Robbins is one of my other favorite motivational speakers, and she does a thing called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, you know it very well. But she also talks about how we have habit loops in our brains, right? And the fear comes from our brains really do things to protect us. So like if you're doing something and your habit loops kick in, or if you're doing something new and you hesitate, that's just your brain saying, hey, that's not in our habit loops. We don't do that. So stop. Right.
Even though it's not bad. Like,
right. It's not bad.
Working out at a gym is not a bad
your
thing.
brain don't really know that. It just knows that you've never done this before and you hesitated. And that's what your brain is looking at. Like you hesitated. Yeah. So your brain is like, whoa, stop. Yeah. And that's why she came up with that thing, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. She was like, don't ever hesitate and think about something. You just got to get up and do it. Because if you don't, your brain is going to kick in and it's going to stop you from doing it. And that's that fear. Right.
And that has to do with programming or reprogramming.
Yeah.
Because because once you're set off into as we often are creatures who have it, we have our habitual ways of going about living life, and when you find and when you interrupt that known program. And you're rewriting some stuff, but you may be in the middle of rewriting these things. So the brain goes, wait, what is this? Right. Wait,
this is what we do.
This ain't, wait a minute, what's going on here? And so that comes, we understand that in the feeling, with the feeling and in shape and form of fear and doubt.
Yes.
And confusion even sometimes.
So much doubt, yes.
Because it's a process of, you're in the middle of a process of reprogramming. And so you have these old ways that are trying to just roll on through, but you're like, wait a minute, you're interrupting that with new information. Because with new information.
It's so hard. It's so, I talk about it all the time, and I just said it, blurted it out, but like even getting up to go to the gym is a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 thing for me. Because my mind's like, you're not a morning person. You don't want to get out of bed.
Right.
Why do you don't even know what you're doing at the gym. You're going to look like a freaking idiot. And all that stuff starts playing. I'm like, I'm not going. Forget it. And so even though I'm still dealing with that right now, I'm being completely transparent. Like every morning it's a battle. And I haven't been really going consistently. And I'm consistently, but I really want to. It's that comes in my mind every time. Like I have to reprogram myself. I have to reprogram myself. So it's also acknowledging what you need to do. And I think that's important. Is I'm not in denial. I know I need work to work on this.
Again, it goes back to what we were saying. It's a journey, and that's what I was talking about my friend yesterday. About yesterday that again, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, but everything that I go through, every mood swings that I go through every day, you know, all the drama, the obstacles, you know, it makes you who you are, you know. So you do have to embrace the process, even though some days they suck, right? But you got to acknowledge it. You got to understand it.
They don't suck. They're just a challenge. Don't say
Right.
suck.
Well,
That's a negative.
that is true.
True.
It's challenge.
But you know
challenge
what?
isn't always a bad thing, so let's say challenge.
It's a challenge.
Look at me.
It's a challenge.
But like,
Maybe
you know,
like-
like I tell people, like, because people always say, like, oh, my life sucks. And it's like, no, it's not your life. It's your external. And I talked about this on, 3 shows ago. It's your external circumstances that's what's making you feel that way. But life is beautiful.
Didn't you have it on one of your shows too that like your day doesn't suck or your life does like it's just today, tomorrow.
It's
like,
the moment.
Yeah, it's just a
your
moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said that. So
Yeah.
And you know what? You hit on something important. You said, so your life circumstances at the moment can suck.
External circumstances.
But your life circumstances are not your life.
Right.
They're just things that are happening
Those
in and
are-
around
Right.
your life.
remember we just talked about it. Like those are just so many, you know, factors we can't plan
Yeah.
for. And
Right.
as a coordinator, that's really hard. It's really hard to not be able to have this structured path of like, this is how we're going to do this and this. And,
Right.
and I told you today, you know, on most of my weddings, I cannot promise 100% perfection.
Like this morning, you know, I thought I was going to wake up, have a cool morning, and just come here, do this show, right? But when I picked you up, then even when I called you, I was like, dude, I'm putting out so many fires. And I went to go pick them up, and then I had a notepad, and I'm not supposed to be driving and texting, but look, I got a notepad writing and driving. I got people on the speakerphone. Like, I was putting out so many
Calls coming
fires
in.
on the way here. Like,
I know. I was surprised he didn't call me this morning. I was like,
because I couldn't. I had so many other calls I was doing.
I mean, from the time I got in the car, the other line kept.
Yeah, I was just putting out so many fires, and like, it was like, oh my God. Like, so you just can't help it. You just got to go through it. But I handled everything. Everything was great. Like, and you know, and that's all you can do. You just, you know, wake up every day and be the best version of what we are, or try to be. You know, I try to be the best version today or a better version, I should say, than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
So Angelo, let's talk about you for a moment. Like, let's talk about who you are. How did you come to California? Why are you here? No, just kidding.
D'Angelo.
D'Angelo, karaoke name.
D'Angelo. I've kind of that name is growing on me now. D'Angelo.
I know.
It is.
I changed his over.
I know. He's reprogramming, right? Into a new
21
process.
days, 21 days.
I know, right? And so who is Angelo? You know,
Where'd you grow up at?
I'm from, my origin story begins in Chicago. I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, Robert Taylor Projects, which they don't exist anymore. But my family, we lived on the south side in the city, and I grew up in a single parent home with my mom and my sister and my brother. I have a brother who's 5 years older than me. And
Are you the baby?
I'm the middle child.
Okay. Oh, you got middle child syndrome? No, just kidding. That's why he's a behavioral therapist. He gotta work.
Well, you know, it was. You know, we grew up in meager circumstances. My mom was, my parents divorced, so I grew up with my mother and my stepdad, who, you know, he loved us. He did the best that he could. A Vietnam veteran and Purple Heart recipient.
Awesome.
So we grew up in a city and in a culture where we had, you know, neighborhoods and families where
A village.
it was a village. Yeah, and so my upbringing, there was so much diversity surrounding me throughout my life that I had this feeling of, when I think of people, I grew up. I went to school with the world. You know, people from all over the globe, and so it's very culturally rich, very rich in arts as well. Chicago's a great arts city. And so I grew up in public school. I became a musician, got involved in band. I was a band geek. I love being band geek. It was great. Music changed my life and the trajectory that I was on. I was always a good kid, but, you know, having those influences in Chicago, hey, I could have gone either direction. The gangs and drugs and all kind of stuff going on. It was all there like a buffet. But I ended up...
Grab a plate.
Have a plate. Have two. And so I latched on to the whole classical music thing since 14. And from that point forward, my mindset was different because I had a focus on something that wasn't, and really it wasn't typical because I was most of the time.
Classical. That's very odd.
Well, and I didn't mention that. So you for years you was a trumpet player.
Yeah,
right.
I started at 14, and I went through high school and I went to college as a music major, performance major on trumpet. And most of my life from since high school has, in some way, shape, or form, has been surrounded by music and classical music mostly.
Did you travel, like play at different theaters and?
Yeah, I did a lot of playing. Mostly, I did lots of gigs where I would play in weddings and such, and performing with ensembles like brass quintets and chamber orchestras, and wind ensembles, and it's just part of who I am.
That's awesome.
It's been all integrated into. So I come from that background, and then got married. I also have a military history, and so I think my story is one that, again, it's not so unique to. It's unique to me because I'm Angelo, but it's an experience that I think a lot of people have had growing up in a culturally, ethnically diverse environment, having found some talent and some hidden abilities, that were nurtured out of me. And I have 2 children. I was married. I'm now divorced, but I have 2 sons that I alluded to earlier. They live in Europe and Belgium. They live in Brussels.
You get to see them?
On video.
Okay.
And they'll be back in the country soon. But, when I look back on my journey, the reason I am the person that I am is because of what the journey I've had. And I think that's what makes every individual unique. I think it's the journey.
Yeah.
It's the journey. Because I said before, life happens along the way. So this Angelo, there's been many different versions of this guy. From inception to now. There's a version of Angelo that was really, really good at loving on other people, but wasn't so great at loving himself. And I had to figure that part out. How is it so easy for me to be affectionate, loving, caring, forgiving to the world, but I could not forgive and love myself at all? I didn't know how to do that.
So what got you into, because you went from playing classical music, military, using the Navy, correct?
Air Force.
Air Force.
Right.
Did you fly planes?
No.
But you're also an educator,
Yes.
So how did you get into the whole educating thing?
Well, I think my mother was an avid reader growing up, and so my sister and I were exposed to. So for fun, we would play dictionary games. Okay, yeah. So this is the geek side of me that I'm embracing my inner geek right now. This is who I am. And so we would have spelling contests and things like that at home. But it's because my mom was such an avid reader. So reading became a part of my life. And so the whole education thing, it came into play for me because I like to share information. I like to share. I like to help people. And so it wasn't a purpose thing that happened. I fell into education. And I'll say my love and gift created a space for me in that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's
Would you say that's your passion?
Education in and of itself, I have a profound respect for education, and I value education, formal and informal. Not all education that is of value is formal education. So education comes in many forms and shapes, and the biggest and most important one, I think, is self-education, the willingness to engage and invest in oneself for growth purposes, But I think my greatest passion remains people. I care about people.
That's awesome.
People matter.
And that's what kind of got us together. We met at karaoke, obviously. We meet everybody at karaoke. We always meet everybody at karaoke. Is that the only place we hang out?
I mean, it sure seemed like it. And, and I was, and this is really interesting because we met at karaoke, but I wasn't doing karaoke.
Yeah, he wasn't doing karaoke. But we started talking, and he told me how he was playing music, whatever. And I was like, "Oh, you know music? Go up there and sing."
As a classical musician, they have nothing to do with anything else.
Opera.
And so I realized for me, I said, listen, I love music. I performed on stage playing trumpet, but it wasn't the same for me. The idea of singing, yeah, you're right. I understand music,
Right, you understand music,
but and I can read music, but singing was not my MO, you know. So to get on stage and sing, even for fun, and that's that classical brain. It's not for fun. When you're on the stage, it's about business. You got to get it right. you got to get it right, you know, because we gonna cut you otherwise, you know. And so
But that's got to be somewhat of the opposite for you for karaoke then, because there is no perfection. I mean, you're not expected to be perfect or good.
not at all.
but that's the growth part because he stepped out of his element.
I
comfort
had to
zone.
grow beyond those limited expectations and learn how to embrace the new thing, go through that process. And now at this point, I love doing karaoke.
Good.
Love it.
It's so much fun.
He does
your
karaoke
fault. Look at
everywhere.
you.
He does karaoke everywhere he can. He's like you, like give me a mic.
Just give me the what you singing? I don't know yet. Just
He
give me
don't know. I just get up there. Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh, we should do karaoke roulette together.
That would be fun.
Do duet, just be like whatever duet.
Oh man, you know somebody did that the other day, and I thought that was so courageous. I'm like, oh well, so you just gonna let them choose the song, and you don't know?
I start that.
She
But
started
it's
that.
my thing, so someone's copying.
Yeah. No, it was KJ Latifah. She was doing. She picked a song for someone else.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I love it. I think it's. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting there like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, oh shit, oh my god, getting a song I don't know.
Exactly.
But then I have to like, who fucking cares? Like, I'm not getting paid for this shit, and no one's sitting there like, she better fucking nail that. No. I'm gonna have to say something if she doesn't sing that well. Like, I mean, you get the crowds like, you better sing it, girl, or something. I get that, but like. Honestly, it's just fun. There's times though, like I mentioned the last podcast, I was like, I shouldn't have sang there's sometimes I shouldn't sing because there's a whole another person that comes out. But hey, you know, it's all in fun.
Yeah, no, it's a great time, and for me, it's another it's another way that I can engage socially with because I love connecting with people, and that's just a whole new way to connect for me, and it's been wonderful for me to engage.
How do you network? Are you comfortable being the conversation starter, or are you kind of allow people to kind of magnetize towards you?
I have no problems at all connecting and initiating a conversation. Now, this is interesting because Mike's been talking to me about these things too. Now, it's different for me connecting in person. It's what I've always done. The mother of my children used to tell me, she said, you don't know a stranger. If I meet a stranger, we're only strangers for like 5 minutes.
You're friends with everybody.
I have this ability to connect to people, but where my challenge lies now is taking that same skill set and applying it through social media. So I have social media accounts, but I've not been the one to create videos and this type of thing. However, I could stand in front of I'm used to performing in front of a crowd of people, but there's something about that. Hey, let's make a video and talk to people about something. There's
knowledge. Like what's my name?
What? And then it's like, what do I say? So I'm sitting at a table, or in a it doesn't matter, in a bar or whatever, with a perfect stranger. Oh, we can talk about a whole bunch of stuff. But I guess the formalizing of that. Okay, now let's have something to say. Now, if I had
which meets the masses,
right? And see, that's why it's such a crucial element that I need to conquer and master.
Yeah, because he's just got into real estate, right? So he's out here doing real estate, and he's on these social media. But I'm like, but you're not active.
Definitely have to start hanging out with us because we have so much real estate network. I mean,
right?
Just that.
No, he hung out with Glenn the other day. Glenn gave him a tour of the building and everything. So him and Glenn are good friends now. now.
Yep. Kudos to
Forget
Glenn.
about you, Mike. No, just kidding.
Yeah, no, just left me out.
No, never that.
But it's funny because then you have the opposite people, right? You have people that are so comfortable in front of their phone and like talking to thousands of people on social media, but you get them in a real people environment and they're like the shyest person. They're introverted, and you're like, wait a second, you're like Insta famous,
right?
But yet you can't come here and talk to anybody. And it's finding that happy medium on how to be a people person on all types of platforms and in person.
Absolutely.
It's something that it takes time and it takes process.
Process and courage and will and determination. And and so this is one of the present challenges that are before me right now that I am going to conquer. But like I said, it's one of those. It's a process, and this is where I am in this process. And so I'm looking forward to growing beyond these boundaries.
Temporary boundaries.
Well, no, me too, and. So we were kind of running out of time, so we got to kind of close this up. But first, I want to actually say happy birthday to your girl Amanda.
Happy birthday!
Amanda's super cool. When is her birthday?
Her birthday is today.
It's actually
so
today.
We've been celebrating it all
okay.
week.
No, you have, and that's why. And I meant to say this earlier on in the show. Give a shout out to Amanda over at Sassy Couture. Happy birthday to her, because you guys been going hard the last couple of days.
Yeah. So she gets the first week of July. We both are birthday month girls. Like we both take the whole month, but usually I try to give her time in the beginning of the month, and then my husband's birthday is the 5th, so I give him the day, and then the rest of the month is mine. Just kidding.
No, but when's your actual birthday?
Mine?
Yeah, the 9th?
Mine's the 10th.
Oh, the 10th.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking the 9th.
Because I have my celebration on the 9th.
Oh, celebration on the 9th.
Because it was a Saturday. I was like, I want to
Right.
party on Saturday. My birthday's on Sunday.
Yeah, so yeah.
I'm excited.
So we got
another anniversary, Les and Mariah Carey.
We got a busy week next week.
We do. I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
Lots of fun.
But thank you guys for your conversations, for coming. Thank you, Angelo, for coming. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys
Appreciate it. I actually had a great time today. It helped me a lot. So, a lot of people that's going through things, you guys, reach out to us. Don't hold things in. I mean, we're here for it. I feel a lot better, to be honest with you. Because I was a little nervous this morning. I was nervous yesterday when I told you this is the show I want to do. I didn't know how I was going to handle it. And even like yesterday when I was kind of going through it in my mind, I kind of broke down a little bit. I was like, I don't know if I can do it. But I had to do it. So I got up and I did it. I had to do my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I was like, I'm doing it. It's
part of the healing process.
Yeah, it is. And I feel good. Especially you, D'Angelo. He's saying D'Angelo.
It's a done deal.
You're D'Angelo. Fuck it. You're D'Angelo. But no, but thank you though, because over the last couple of days, even when people are going through things, I mean, reach out to somebody. I mean, we just met, but me and him, I feel like me and him got a great friendship right now, and we've been having a lot of great conversations over the last 2 days, and I truly appreciate this gentleman. I believe God puts people in your lives for a reason. He definitely put him in my life for
He
during
put
this
us
time.
in each other's lives. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, at the perfect time too, and I appreciate it, and it doesn't go unnoticed, and I appreciate your conversations.
I appreciate you too, and you know what? Everyone else who's listening, reach out, speak out, let somebody know what's up, what you're going through.
100%.
They may have a word for you,
yeah,
and you may have something for them. But we all in it together.
Yep.
You just took my outro, but I love it.
Yeah, okay, my bad.
No, but yeah, obviously, we got a call-in number, so you guys use it, 747-999-8021. Again, 747-999-8021. Leave us a message. We'll call you back, or, if I happen to pick up, or, whatever.
If you want to be on the show, let us know too.
No, absolutely. Anybody that want to be on the show and talk, you got a story you want to tell, you got a topic, a conversation, we're for it. We got a next show. We got a special surprise for you guys. I'm not gonna talk about it yet. I was supposed to talk about it on this show, but it's a surprise. So tune in to the next one. Yeah. Follow us on IG. My IG is 1Life Brand. Diana's is at Socialholic TV. Follow us, comment, like, what we're doing. Socialholic TV, we're still working on that. I got pieces of the.
You got to see a little bit. Don't be lying. That smile right there just tells me you'll see. Yeah. Okay. You saw it too?
No.
I was like, hold up, Carlos?
No.
Headphones off it. I'm calling somebody right now.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, we are in the elevator. We're going down to the lobby again. Thank you guys. Thank you, Diana. As always, the lovely, beautiful Diana. You guys from Socialholic. Thank you, Angelo Gantz, Mr. Gantz.
Mr. Gantz.
Appreciate you,
Big
brother.
love.
We will see you next
All right,
Friday.
y'all. Peace out.
Next week.
Everyone has a unique gift, and Mike and Diana, host of the 1NELife podcast, believe that most people don't know how to use their gifts or what they are. Mike and Diana want you to see things from a different perspective and be true to yourself. The 1NELife podcast unites the world through art, fashion, music, and film. It inspires, motivates, and creates positive energy, love, and compassion to all communities and creates an equal playing field for all. On the 1NELife podcast, they cover topics like building relationships, overcoming adversity, habits of healthy people, and much, much more. We only have one life to live. Be yourself and live your truth. Add the 1NELife podcast to your playlist. That's the number 1NELife. Available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and your favorite podcast platform.